All right, my name is James Shepard, and today we're going to talk about Delegate to Grow. Now, this webinar, honestly, I really didn't know what to call it, and so I settled on this name, Delegate to Grow, because this is one that I had some material from a while back, a few months ago, and I actually had to cancel the webinar, and so I wanted to kind of bring this topic up again. But really, this webinar is very different from the other webinars that I've done in the past. I really just want to talk to you as one business owner to another, and I want to talk to you about how to succeed in this industry, what it really takes. There's a fine line for me personally between sharing with you what I personally have done to succeed in my business and then trying to package that in a way where I think it would be useful to everybody. And in this particular webinar, what I'm going to talk about is my personal, I don't know what you want to call it, my personal recipe for success, I guess. But really just what I have done in my own business to succeed in this industry. And, I'll tell you that, I'm not a wildly successful person. I'm not somebody that, I'm not planning to write any books here in the near future. But I do make a pretty good amount of money. And the thing that really I believe is important is that I have a life that I want to have right now. I have the schedule that I want to have. I have the work that I want to have. I have the marriage that I want to have. Now, of course, I want to improve all those things and I want to grow with all those things. But, I think my wife would tell you that, I've designed a life for myself that I like. I like life. So I wanted to share with you today a little bit of kind of how I've done that, what success looks like for me. You might have different ideas. You might have different opinions, and that's great. My point isn't to tell you that the way I've built my business is the only way. I'm simply trying to share with you kind of my version of success, and I hope that it maybe will inspire you to think about what success looks like for you and how you're going to achieve it, okay? So first of all, what I want to do first of all is I want to talk about some wrong assumptions that agents have. And this is just as I'm talking to agents, these are some assumptions that I hear them talking about that I feel like are very dangerous assumptions, and I want to talk to you a little bit about why they're so dangerous to business. The first assumption that I hear people say, I'm not making enough money to invest in my business. Now, we need to correct that assumption. The correct assumption that you should have is, I'm not making enough money because I'm not investing in my business. Now, let me explain this, okay? As you're making money in your business, probably one of the most difficult things to do is that, you might only be bringing in a very small amount of money each month, maybe a couple $1,000s maybe. And, you're looking at all the bills you have to pay, and you're thinking about that and thinking, man, I can't afford to invest anything in my business. I can't afford to grow my business. I can't afford to bring anybody on to help me. And so what happens is something very dangerous. What happens is you actually will shut off your mind to potential opportunities that could make you more money. Now, very rare is the opportunity that does not cost you any money, but it is very, very possible that you're going to be able to find an opportunity that, while it is going to cost you some money, it's going to make you more money than it costs you, okay? So there's a lot of ideas that I'm going to present that I'm worried that some of you, even on this webinar, you're on here thinking, oh, delegate to grow. Yeah, maybe in like 5 years, I'm going to be able to do this. That's really just not true. You can delegate to grow now. Your business can grow now. This is one of the big, I guess you would say, kind of secrets to my success is that, early on, even when I really couldn't afford it, I was investing in my business. And again, this is something that my wife and I talked a lot about and a lot of times disagreed about. There's a lot of times my wife and I would talk about it and, we would say, man, we've got these bills to pay here. We can't invest in our business. It's just not right. And, you know, a lot of times we didn't, but a lot of times I would look at it and say, no, you know what, honey, we're going to do this because we're not going to be stuck in this cycle of life where, you know, we can't pay our bills, we can't take care of things. I'm not going to get stuck there. I'm going to take a little bit of this money, not a lot, but maybe $50 or $100, and I'm going to get something started that's going to increase our income and make us more money. And I'm going to talk about some of the things you can do that will make you more money here on the next couple slides. But just understand that's a wrong assumption. Okay, don't feel like, well, you know, you have to have money to make money. You'll hear people say that, and that's actually true. But the thing is, you know, you don't have to have, you know, $10,000 sitting in the bank in order to start to grow your business. Okay, the ideas that I'm going to present to you today and the things that I've done in my business, I have done with nothing. I've instituted most of these plans. I instituted back when I didn't have anything to invest in anything. And we came up with ideas that would bring us a profit in our business and that would increase our income regardless of how much money we had. We were going to try something. We minimized our risk. We made a realistic plan, and we tried to be as realistic as we could be with ourselves, with each other, and, you know, we made stuff happen. And that's what I want to talk to you about today in business. Okay, next, number 2. The merchant service industry is just too difficult for me. Correction. Okay, the correct assumption is starting a business is difficult in any industry, and it takes a 100% focus and commitment to make it happen. Now, this is an area where I'm very different from any other quote-unquote recruiters that you see in our industry. You know, most recruiters in our industry are going to tell you how amazing it is, how much money you can make, it's how great of an opportunity it is. And while I certainly believe all those things, and I certainly do love this industry, today what I want to tell you is it's starting a business. That's what this is, okay? So if you're thinking of becoming an agent like an employee, that's not what it is, okay? It's starting a business. Starting a business is extremely difficult. It's very rewarding, but it's extremely difficult. If your plan right now is you say, okay, I'm about to become an agent, and I'm going to go tell my spouse, honey, I've seen his YouTube videos, and he's awesome, and we're just going to do great, and we're going to make all kinds of money. You are setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for disappointment, okay? What you need to do is you need to go to your spouse or significant other and say, hey, I want to start a business. This is the business I'd like to start. Now, as you know, starting a business is very, very difficult. It's tough. And so what I want to talk to you about is, do you think we can do this? Does this sound like a good idea? Can we make this happen? You need to be having realistic conversations because starting a business is difficult. And one of the things that's so frustrating to me is I'll talk to agents after they've been in it for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And they're like, I can't do it, James. I just can't do it. It's too difficult. It's too tough. And I'm thinking, really? You know, what did you think it was going to be? You know, you're starting a business. I mean, if you went and started a restaurant, would you expect to make $100,000 your first year? No. You know, you went and started a restaurant, you plan on spending thousands and thousands of dollars and having a huge risk and having a high probability of failure. And, you know, you would make it happen and you would get out there and work hard and you would just put everything you had into that business to make it work. Well, guess what? That's what this is. This is a business, okay? You are about to start a business. If you succeed, which I know you can do, you know, you can follow the procedures we have in place, the systems we have, and you can succeed in a big way. And if you succeed, you are going to be a successful business owner. That's awesome. That's amazing. You're going to make a lot of money. That's great, okay? But understand that between starting and succeeding, there's a lot of tough times. There's a lot of difficult decisions. There's a lot of long hours. There's a lot of commitment. There's a lot of focus involved. And I want to make sure that for those of you that maybe are not in it yet or you're thinking about should I stay or should I not, let me help you make a decision, okay? If you're thinking about staying in this industry or leaving, and your reason to stay is that you think it's going to be easy for you to stay, or you think things are about to just turn around for you and you're going to make so much money that it's just unbelievable. If that's your thought process, leave the industry now. Save yourself the time, save yourself the headache, save yourself the arguments with your spouse, because that's not going to happen. It's a business. It's difficult. It's tough. It's hard. My wife and I are very successful in this business, and there's still days where it's tough. There's still times where I come home and say, honey, I'm working on a program right now that is going to cost us probably $20,000 just to start this program for our agents. And it's a difficult decision. You know what I mean? It's difficult. It's not like being an employee. I'm a business owner just like you are. And one of the things that we're so passionate about here at CC Sales Pro and CC Goal, our mission is to help independent agents succeed. So when we bring people on, we're not bringing them on as employees. We're trying to help you succeed as a small business owner. So understand that you're a business owner, and understand that in this business, don't look at it and think, well, this business is too hard for me. No. Any business is difficult. Any business is difficult. If anybody ever comes to you and says, hey, I've got a business opportunity for you, it's a sure thing. You know what you say? Have a nice day. Walk away. That's not a business, okay? There's only one kind of business in the world, and that's businesses that take hard work, they take risk, they take money, they take investment, they take commitment, they take focus. That's the only kind of business that there is. And if you want to succeed in business, this is a great business, and I'll tell you why. One thing is, it does not require any investment up front, but as you get going into the business, you're going to want to put some money into it, as we just talked about, okay? So that's that one. Now, the next failed assumption. I need a little Pepsi. Hold on. I couldn't possibly manage someone else. I've heard a lot of people say that. I'll tell an agent, man, I'll say, dude, you're too busy, man. You need an administrative assistant. Oh, I couldn't possibly manage somebody else. No, the correct assumption is, the correct thought process is, I can't manage myself. I know, truth hurts, okay? That's just the truth, okay? If you look at it and say, I don't think I can manage somebody else, the truth is that you haven't figured out yet how to manage yourself. Now, the good news is you can figure out how to manage yourself, and I'm going to talk about that on the next slide. But understand that managing someone else is not difficult at all if you learn how to manage yourself. The most difficult person that I manage is me. I have the hardest time with me than I do with anybody else. I mean, honestly, the other people that work for me, I tell them, go do this, go do that, and they do it. It's easy. The hard thing is managing myself, because somehow when I tell myself what to do every day, I find that I am my most rebellious employee. I am my most insubordinate worker, because it's me, and it's hard to manage me. So understand that if you're thinking, well, I could never manage a team, I could never manage other people, then you don't have to worry about that. Figure out how to manage yourself, and managing other people is easy. Managing other people is a piece of cake compared to managing yourself, okay? The last assumption that I want to talk about, a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of agents, my processor is holding me back. Now, let me first of all clarify something here, okay? I'm obviously not talking about if you're with a processor that's a captive processor and, they're making you leave, they're paying you $5 a month residual on each account. Like I talked to an agent yesterday that's what she's getting. That processor is holding you back, okay? And you're not going to succeed, so get out of there and get with a realistic. But when I'm one of these processors, whether or not it's one that we support or not, you're with like a real live processor that pays you a good residual split, upfront money, they offer free equipment, month-to-month agreements, all the stuff we talk about that makes a good offer. Now, if that's you and you're with a processor like that and you say, the processor is holding me back, let me explain something to you that's just kind of a hard truth in our industry right now that I want to fix, but I haven't fixed it yet. And let me explain something to you guys. Let's say that we have a scale for customer service of 1 to 10. That's our scale. 1 being, the worst customer support you can imagine. Nobody will return a call. Just terrible customer support is a 1. 10 being like, just amazing customer service. I mean, just the VIP treatment, incredible personalized customer service, okay? So 1 through 10, all right. In our industry, most business owners expect to receive about a 6 or 7 on that scale, okay? In other words, for merchant services, the expectations are a little bit lower, It's not like we're a luxury car dealership or something, Most business owners don't expect us to give them an amazing level of customer service. They expect it to be like a 7. Your business is figure out how to take care of your business. One, understand that no matter which processor you're with, they're not going to always provide you with the support you think they should, because that's just our industry. And it's just the natural competitive way things work. Okay, in other words, if nobody is setting a higher bar, then processors aren't going to spend all this extra money to, be twice as good as everybody else. They're just trying to be as good or a little better than everybody else in the area of customer service. And like I said, in our industry, the general customer service is really low, so they're not providing amazing customer service. Again, they're providing okay customer service. It's just they're not wowing anybody. I've never talked to anybody in our industry, any merchant, and I've talked to thousands of business owners. Never one time have I talked to anybody who said the processor gave me amazing customer service. Never. Not one time has anybody ever said that. No one's ever said to me, oh, I could never leave that company. They give me the most amazing customer service. Never has that happened to me. Now, a couple times they've said there's a local agent that's providing great customer service, and that's what we need to do. We have to provide great customer service. And if you're wondering how to do that, call me. I had, out of all the issues, I think I had like 7 or 8 agents contact me and ask, hey, James, I've got this account. What do I do about this? Every single one, by the time I talked to them, I had a solution. I was able to talk them through how to take care of that situation. Okay, so if you have a problem, call me or email me and say, James, I'm a little lost here, and let's provide good customer service to our merchants, and let's take charge of that ourselves because it's our business. And so don't have the assumption that, oh, it's the processor. No, it's us. Let's take personal responsibility and let's make sure our accounts are well serviced. Okay, so there's your little tip on customer service for the day. Okay, next. I've got 2 slides here that I want to talk about. So the first one is managing yourself. Okay, managing yourself. I need another drink of Pepsi. Managing yourself. First of all, let me give you a couple tips about managing yourself. First of all, what is important to you? What is important to you? Don't waste your life on things that are not important to you, okay? Take a little bit of time. Before you delegate to grow, take a little time to make sure you're managing yourself. And step 1, write down what's important to you and don't waste your time. Do things that matter to you. Do things that are important to you. And that's just, kind of self-management 101. You're always going to be torn if you're doing things that are not important to you. You know that in the long-term scheme of things, this doesn't even fit in and you're spending a lot of time on it. It's just not going to work out well for you. I'll be real personal and honest with you guys. I had the last corporate job that I had. The last corporate job I had a $50,000 base salary, and I had excellent benefits. I had a 401k. I had yearly bonuses. It could be $15,000, $20,000. I had a great job, and I loved that job for a while. And it got to the point in that job where I didn't love it anymore. And I didn't see myself staying at that company for a long time. I didn't see myself doing that. And so guess what I did? I quit. And everybody told me I was nuts. Everybody told me I was crazy. I was the youngest marketing manager in the company, and everybody said, "Oh, you're nuts. You're crazy." And I'll be honest, I thought I was crazy for a few years because I went from making $70,000, $80,000 a year to like 10, starting my business, and it took a little while to get things going. And you know what though? I refuse to live my life on things that are not important to me. I just refuse to do it. Now, I certainly have respect for it. And like I said, that's my opinion. You have to live your life in a way that makes sense to you. For me, though, I will not spend my life on things that don't matter. I just refuse to do it. I refuse to do it. I don't care what it costs me. I don't care what I have to do to achieve it. I'm just not going to live my life on things that don't matter. And that's really what I mean by the core value of always living. And that's really where that came from. It's my core value. And it's a core value that says to me, I am not going to do things that don't matter. I don't care what it costs me. I don't care how difficult it is. I am going to live a life that I believe is important and that is what I want to live, the life that I want to live. And I'm not going to be swayed by other people's opinions. I'm not going to be swayed by anything. I'm just going to decide in my life what is important to me. And I'm going to make sure that my schedule and my life has those things in it, which comes to our next one. Put it in your schedule. Put it in your schedule. Create your block schedule from this list. You've got to start your list with the things that are important to you. I think that in American culture, we've kind of gotten this idea of work and then personal life. And while you certainly need to separate those two things in your schedule. They don't always have to be at the same times. You know what I mean? It's kind of an accepted thing that everybody takes Saturday and Sunday off as a general rule. Well, for me, I decided that it was important for me to be a youth pastor, to serve in my church and in our community, to help people in the community. So I decided I'm going to work on Saturday and Sunday as a youth pastor, and I'm going to take Thursday off. So if you have ever noticed, I'm normally not very active on Thursday because I take Thursday off and spend it with my family. Because my family is important and my church is important. And so I don't care what the normal way that everybody else does things. I don't care about that. I know how I'm going to do things because I know what's important to me, and that's how I design my schedule. There are days where I spend a certain, my morning with the family. I sleep in, spend the morning with my family, and then I work until midnight. That's my Monday. Actually, Monday I work all day. Monday I get up, I'm at the office by like 8:30 in the morning, and I leave about 11:30, midnight, sometimes 1 in the morning. I work all day, all evening on Monday because work is really important to me. My business is important to me. I love it. I absolutely love it. And so my wife and I have talked about it, and she always plans things that she's going to do on Monday nights out with friends or whatever. And so she knows Monday's the day that I work all day long because work is important to me. So I get a lot done on Monday, and then I don't have to work quite as much the rest of the week. So you got to plan your block schedule based around what's important to you, okay? And don't get any preconceived notions. Just look at your schedule and say, what's important to me and when is the best time to do that? And who cares if that ruffles somebody's feathers or if somebody doesn't like the way you're doing it? You put your schedule, what's important to you, okay? Also under this note, share your schedule with others. I love using Google Calendar because I can share it with other people, and that comes in really handy when we're talking about delegating to grow and delegating to other people. But you need to have a calendar that you're not afraid to share, okay? In other words, my wife has my calendar, okay? There is no event that would be on my calendar that I would be afraid my wife would see. That's just kind of a common thing, just something I think about. There's a situation, a friend of mine, I won't get into the details or anything, but he was actually a very important guy, and he was a good friend of mine, a CEO of a huge organization, and he had an affair with somebody that was actually underage and fell apart and ended up, he's actually in prison right now. It's a very sad situation. And, all of that came about because he ended up in a bad situation because his wife didn't even know what he was doing. He was with somebody she never should have been with. And it's beyond my comprehension. And when I talked to my wife, when we talked about that scenario and how we were going to prevent anything from getting into our relationship like that and ever destroying our relationship, one of the things that we've agreed to is that we have complete clarity. There's we know what each other are doing. We literally have each other's schedules, okay? I don't have to wonder, I wonder what Christina is doing today. Christina doesn't have to wonder, I wonder if James is at the office. I wonder if he's out. I wonder if he's with friends. No, she knows exactly where I'm at all the time, and I'm fine with that. And by the way, so does my administrative assistant, and so does the person that works with me on my schedule. I have no secrets. I don't have any secrets in my schedule. My schedule is my life. It's very important to me, and I don't have anything in there that I'm trying to hide. I don't have any skeletons in the closet. I share my schedule with anybody that has anything to do with it. I have no problem with that. Okay, so don't be afraid to share your calendar. If you look right now, you think, oh, I'd be afraid to share my calendar because then what? What is it that you would be afraid to share? Would you be afraid to share your calendar with me? If so, why? Is it because maybe you don't have anything in there? And you're really not planning your day and you want people to think you're really organized, but you're not? Let me give you a tip. Share your calendar with your wife and share your calendar with somebody else, maybe a counselor, administrative assistant. And guess what? You'll start planning your day out. You know why? Because they've got your calendar. So, use that to your advantage. Use that accountability. And that's one of my big secrets is that I manage my schedule really well because I've got like 5 people that are looking at my calendar in order to plan their calendar and in order to make changes to my calendar. I'll give you a great example. My administrative assistant, she can schedule a phone call for me any time that's open in my calendar. So if I don't plan my calendar out, she might schedule, a call for me Thursday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm supposed to be on a date with my wife. So I've got to plan my calendar out. Otherwise, she's going to fill the whole thing in with phone calls, right? So it just really helps me out. Last on here, live your values. Live your values. Make a realistic plan and then live by it. Let me give you a little tip here. And again, I'm trying to be very open and just kind of very honest with you guys today. And let me share something with you, okay? Let me share a reality with you. There are times when I know that I'm not going to work more. I'm not going to get more than 4 hours work done in a day. There are days like that. I'm a business owner. You're a business owner. some days you get up and you just don't have it. You know what I mean? You're just having a tough day. Things are not going well. You're broke. You're not going to get much done that day. And you go, I'm going to be lucky to get 3-4 hours worth of work done today. Let me give you a tip. If you have a day like that, let me tell you what you should do. You should take your schedule out and plan to work for 3 hours. And that's it. In other words, make a realistic plan. Why are you going to sit in your office for 10 hours to get, why would you do that? If all you're going to do is get 3 hours worth of work done, plan to work 3 hours, and then go home. Go home, spend time with your wife. Too many times we feel guilty and we're like, man, we're not making very much money right now. Things are kind of falling apart and I need to be there like 10 hours today. And I'm going to feel guilty if I come home and my wife or my husband knows I didn't really work a full day today. Don't let that creep in. Just be honest with your spouse. Just say, there's a many times I told Christina, baby, I don't have it today. I'm sorry. I know we don't have a lot of money right now, and I know I'd like to make some more money, but to be honest with you, I just don't have it today. I'm going to go work for 3 hours, and I'm going to try to get as much done as I can. I'm going to go prospect for 3 hours, and that's all I got in me today. After that, I'm coming home, and I'm going to sit down here and watch TV the rest of the day. You know what? I'm just trying to be honest and open with you guys because, I feel like too many times you look at somebody and feel like, oh, that person's got it all together. Guys, I don't have it all together. There's days where I feel like, man, I just can't, I can't work that. Even now when I feel like, man, our business is doing great, trying to think of the last time this happened, but I know it was a few weeks ago. There was a day where I just could hardly get out of bed. I got out of bed in the morning. I got ready for work. I sat down and I said, honey, I'm going to work from home today. I don't have it. I had some personal things not going well. And I was like, man, I don't know. I'm just discouraged. I wasn't feeling good. And, my wife said to me, she said, you know what? I'm not going to do anything today either. How about you work for an hour at your home office and let's take the rest of the day off. Let's go to Pittsburgh or whatever. And, we just took the day off. Why? Because make realistic plans. Okay, look at your money and be realistic about your money. Okay, if you're broke, you're broke. If you don't have any money, you don't have any money. You're never going to succeed in business by pretending that you have something you don't have or by pretending you're going to accomplish something that you're not going to accomplish that day. Be honest with your significant other, with your spouse, with your friends, with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Make a plan and just live by it. You know what? I got to be honest here. We're broke today, so we're going to have to make some tough decisions. I wrote in a blog article recently, don't be afraid to spend the day with your family. You know what I mean? You say, you might go home and say, hey, everybody, you know what? We don't have much money right now because we're starting a business. This is our family business. We're starting it. I'm excited about it, but we don't have a lot of money right now. So I'm going to take the rest of the day and we're just going to stay home and we're going to play board games or watch TV or whatever you're going to do. And don't be afraid to do that. Don't feel guilty about that. That's just part of being in business. Part of the thing about being in business, there's good and bad. The good is you get to set your own schedule, which is great. The bad part is, you set your own schedule. So sometimes things aren't going well, and sometimes you just have to kind of give yourself a break, okay? Now, I'm going to answer a couple questions that we got over here, and I'd be glad to, answer any questions that you guys have, I appreciate that. So any questions that you guys have, just feel free to type them over to the right in the question box. I got one more slide I'm going to go through, and then I'm going to give you one tip. So help me remember if I forget, by the way, if I forget to share this tip with you about the not interested rebuttal, remind me to share it with you at the end of this if I forget, okay? All right, managing others. So let's talk a little bit about managing others here. Hold on, let me get my screenshot back up. Okay. First of all, managing others, okay? Let's start out by thinking in terms of interest. Now, this is really important. If you get to the point where you say, I want to manage other people, I want to have somebody else that's working for me, you have to think about what is it that's in their interest and what is it that's in your interest. So don't expect people. Actually, this is a lesson I learned from George Washington. If you ever want to read an interesting book, His Excellency, it's a biography of George Washington. And one of the things they talk about in there is that they said that one of the strengths that George Washington had, especially in his foreign policy, he is the one that said you can't expect another country or another person to do something that's outside of their interest. In other words, if you just think, this person is going to work really hard for me because I'm just so wonderful. They just think so highly of me that they're going to work really hard. Wrong answer, okay? They're going to work hard if it's in their interest to work hard. They're going to do a good job if it's in their interest to do a good job, okay? So what do they want? what does this person want? Are they somebody that thrives on recognition? You're going to have to tell them they're doing a great job like every day, okay? Is this somebody that they need to make some extra money for their family right now, and this is a chance for them to make a little extra money? Then you need to give them a little bit more stability in the way that they're making money and make sure they know that if they work hard, they're going to make some extra money for their family. Is this somebody that wants to have a long-term potential with your company and they want to eventually make a lot of money, okay? You're going to have to lay out a clear path of what they need to do right now to make money, and also so that in the future they can make more money. So you got to look at what does this person want out of this business relationship, and then find a way to give that to them, okay? And actually, let me go ahead and give you a real specific example on that. Okay, so there's a young man that works with me, and his name is Tahir, and he might watch this video, so if so, hi Tahir. He works for me right now, and he's a high school senior, and there's two things that are really in his interest that he wants to do, okay? Number one, he wants to make a little bit of money right now. You know, he's in school, he wants to have some money to do stuff in high school, right? Number two, he wants to be able to save up some money for college. So it's really important that he has a chance to make some good money for college, okay? So when I brought on Tahir, here's what I did. I gave him two different options and what we did. So I actually changed some things around once I kind of realized more of what his interests were. We recently made a new agreement, and now what I do is I pay him $9 an hour. He works 2 hours a day, 3 days a week right now. And what he's doing is he's cold calling and he's calling prospects back for me. And he's basically like my administrative assistant for my local business. So when somebody calls and needs customer service, I send it over to him and he calls them and says, hey, James is available tomorrow at 3 or whatever. And he puts that in my schedule. And then he also does cold calling and calls people up and schedules appointments for me for leads and stuff. So he works like 6 to 8 hours a week. Within a few weeks, he'll probably be up to 10 or 12 hours a week. And I pay him $9 an hour. Also, what I told him was in 6 months, if he's doing a really good job in 6 months, he's still with me, then I'm going to give him an opportunity to take over some residual from some older accounts that I've been working on. He's going to have a chance to take some residual, and I'm going to split the residual with him 50-50, and he's going to service some of my national accounts over the phone. He's going to provide phone service, and that's going to give him a chance to make some residual income for college. And that's a job that he can really take with him at college and work at part-time while he's at college and make some money there. So I looked at, what are his interests, and I know that I'm not really worried about him. I know he's going to work hard because I know he wants to make money. Now, right now, I did the $9 per hour because he wants to make some spending money, and I know that if I pay him by the hour, that's going to make him want to work really hard because he's going to want to work some hours so he can make some money. So that's why I did it that way, okay? So you got to look at each person that you're working with as, what's in their interest to do and really try to think of it from that perspective, okay? Put everything in writing, all right? You don't need a lawyer early on. Anything written is binding in most states. So just type something out. You don't have to be a genius. Just type out what the deal is, me and so-and-so agree to the following terms as of this date. Number 1, write it out. Number 2, and then you both sign at the bottom. That's all you need. You don't need a lot. Really, let's face it, you're probably not going to go to court with most of these people that you have as part-time workers. I mean, really, are you going to go to court for $100, The most important thing is usually the relationship. Usually we're talking about a friend or a friend of a friend or a family member. So really the most important thing is the relationship and the communication. So you just need to make sure that everybody's crystal clear on who's doing what and how things are going. So solid bricks make a brick wall. Let me tell you a story, and then we'll be done except for this the rebuttal I'm going to give you. There is a good friend of mine. Actually, we kind of lost connection, but a good friend of mine a long time ago when I was first starting out in business. With my very first business, I set up fish tanks, big saltwater aquariums, and you've seen the show Tanked. It's a reality show, guys. I set up aquariums in Las Vegas. That's kind of like what I did. That was my first business, and this guy was a really wealthy guy. He owned all these different steel companies, and that's where I put in an aquarium for him, and he gave me some advice. And part of the advice that he gave me was, he said, James, he said, when you're building your business, he said, your business is like a brick wall. and he said, you know, brick wall is made up of individual solid bricks. He said, you know, every responsibility that you have, every procedure that you have, you know, everything that you're doing, every business that you're doing, he said, you've got to make it a solid brick before you move on to the next one. Otherwise, you're going to build your brick wall and then it's all going to crumble. And so he said, you know, you've got to build solid bricks. Now, let me kind of explain what that means a little bit, okay? Number one, delegate bite-sized responsibilities, okay? As a sales agent, let me kind of give you a recipe for success that's going to limit your risk, okay? You're not really right now, you're not really looking for people that are looking for a full-time job, you know, or to be an employee. You're not really looking for that right now, okay? If you want to succeed in this business, what you're looking for is people that they want to make a little bit of extra money. Maybe it's a housewife that, you know, she wants to work from home. They need to make some extra money, and she's willing to work, you know, an hour a day starting out. Most of you have talked to Angela at one point or another. She's my main administrative assistant for the agent side of things. When Angela started out, she was working 1 hour a day, 3 days a week. That's it. 1 hour a day, 3 days a week. I'm trying to remember back to what she was doing, but I know what she was doing. All she did back then, the only thing that she did, whenever we got an email or a phone call from a potential agent, all she would do is she would just take that and she would put that into my schedule, and she would put them in an Excel spreadsheet. That's it. That's all she did. Okay. And she spent an hour a day on that. Once we were like, boy, we got this down pat. This is really solid. It's a brick. You know, she understands my schedule. I'm working well with her, so she knows what she's doing. I said, okay, let's do an hour a day, 5 days a week. Every day, let's be on this so that my schedule is always up to date. So then she would call people and just set up appointments. Then, I mean, now she does so much stuff. It's crazy, and she works a lot more hours. But, you know, but we started out really small. I also know that it's in her interest that she wants to spend a lot of time with her kids. That's why she's working at home. So she never works more than about 2 or 3 hours a day. Even now, you know, she works about 2 or 3 hours a day with what she does, and that works out great for me because I don't need a full-time administrative assistant right now. I was going to delegate the merchant side of things to her to be my administrative assistant there, but you know, I realized that's not in her interest to do that. You know, I'm adding on too much, and she's not going to be able to spend time with her kids that she wants to spend. So now I'm asking her to do something that's not in her interest to do, and that's stupid on my part. So, and that's not right. So instead, I got this other guy that I'm working with. I said, you know, this is the guy. He would do a really good job at this, and now I've got him doing, guess what? 1 hour a day, or 2 hours a day right now, but 3 days a week. I'm starting him off small. Give people a really small, this is your responsibility. Make it simple. Don't just dump on people. Don't give them like, okay, I need you to just take care of everything. No. Give them one thing to do. Pay them a little bit of money. What does that do? Well, that helps you because, you know, it's good for you because it doesn't take a lot of money to do that. And if you play your cards right, you know, like with Tahir, you know, I'm paying him. I made a sale yesterday or 2 days ago from one of his leads. So this week, I've already made like $400 from the work that he's done, and his work this week is going to cost me $75. So see, this goes back to what we talked about on the first slide. You know, your assumption might be, well, I don't make enough money. I can't afford to pay somebody $75 a week or $100 a week to make calls for me. No, you got to look at it the other way, okay? The reason that you don't have that money is because you're not willing to invest the $75 or $100 a week so that you can make an extra $400 or $500 a week, okay? So, you know, and again, I'm going to make that right away. I'm paying on approval. So, you know, it's pretty obvious. I would need to have a couple $100 in savings because it's usually going to take somebody a few weeks to really get the hang of things. But, you know, within a few weeks, somebody that's calling for you, you should be communicating with them and saying, look, I don't have a lot of money right now, so I will pay you if you help me make money. But if I don't make money from what you're doing, then I'm not going to pay you because I can't. So we're going to work for a couple weeks and see how this works out. And if I make money from the relationship, then that's great. If I don't, then I'm sorry, but it's not going to work out. You know, so you've got to be ready to make the commitment to give them a couple weeks to catch up. But you know, you've got to be expecting to make some money off of this deal. Okay, so now the way that I decide if it's a solid brick is if this task could be reassigned before moving on. In other words, it's not enough for me, for Angela to know what she's doing. She also has to know what she's doing so well and have everything documented so well that she could turn it over to somebody else. Then, and only then, am I going to give her a new responsibility. I'll be honest with you, the stuff she does with recruiting, she is amazing and she works really hard, but I am confident that she could train somebody else how to do that in a day. I mean, honestly, in 8 hours. I could get her somebody for a day. Why? Because she has everything written out in procedures. I mean, exactly when we do what, how we do it, what emails we send, what calls we make, what we say on the call. I mean, everything she has planned out in procedures. So that's a solid brick of my business, and I don't have to worry about that part crumbling, because even if Angela were to leave me and not help with our business anymore, I know that I could bring somebody else in and I could just say, here's everything she did, and it would be so easy to get that person up and going again because we've created that solid brick in our business. So let me encourage you to think creatively about your business this week. Think creatively about it today as you're out in the field. What could you do? A great example, like I said, is this kid to here I got. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, how many of you couldn't manage somebody that's a senior in high school? I mean, the kid's a sharp kid. He wants to make some money. He's ready to work hard. For a while, he was working based on commission. He made $50 on every sale I made from his leads. And if you don't have any money to do this, that's a great plan. I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't do that tomorrow, I mean, so here's Podio. Let me show you this. Here's our workspace right here in Podio. You can see if I click on leads right now, Tahir just started working this, and we have, here's the leads that we have in here right now. And this is shared with Tahir, this is shared with Angela, this is shared with Brandon Walter, who's my local agent here in the area. But you can see all these different notes in here, and let me actually show you one if I can find it. Let's see here. Hold on. There it is. Okay. Let me show you one here, and then this will lead into my last thing I'm going to talk to you about the not interested rebuttal. But so here we have this lead, and this is, you can see here, it's a Tahir lead. So that means I know I'm tracking it, that he's the one that generated that lead. We also track if it's Khalil, I have another young man that helps me out, or if I generated the lead, or if Brandon generated the lead, or if it was a marketing lead. So that way I can track where the lead came from. Are they currently accepting credit card? We got all this stuff up here. Now this guy, let's see here, right down here, this is the very first one that Tahir set up for me. So he put a note in here, stop by tomorrow and speak to owner, only available during opening. And then he put that in my calendar. He actually added that to my calendar. Now we had some problems with the calendar stuff and we got that figured out. But let me go back to my PowerPoint and I'll explain what happened with that one. So anyway, what happened with that lead was, and this leads in great to my not interested thing. I went into that lead, and first of all, when I walked in, I was very impressed because I said, "Hi, my name's James Shepard," and he said, "Oh, hey James, how you doing?" I said, "Good." I said, "Did you talk to Tahir?" And he said, "Yeah, I spoke to Tahir, and he said you'd be dropping by this morning." So just that, I was like, okay, that's really good. He actually spoke with the guy, and the guy was expecting me to come in, so I feel like he did his job. So then I pitched him, and I pitched him pretty good on the merchant services. He was with Mercury. I couldn't get him interested in switching. He said he wasn't really interested. I rebutted that a few times with the merchant services, and then my new not interested pitch, then I'm going to give you my rebuttal that I use. Right when I realized, okay, I'm about to walk out the door, you know what I mean, like I'm done, I hand him this, the trifold brochures that we have, and I said, hey, do me a favor, and if you want to look over this, let me just tell you real quick before I go, the 3 most popular services that my company provides other than merchant services, because we have so many connections with small business owners, we started offering some other things. The 3 most popular ones that we have are touchscreen point of sale systems, web design, and payroll services. Now let me ask you real quick before I go, do any of those 3 interest you at all? Are you already working with any of those? Like, do you already have a website or payroll services? Or are you thinking about a touchscreen point of sale system? And that's my pitch. That's my not interested rebuttal. This particular guy said, oh, you do web design? I said, yeah. And he said, man, I've got a website already and I hate it. It's an Intuit site. We talked for a while about it. It's actually an e-commerce site for his store and it's terrible. He pays like $30 a month for it and he doesn't get any business from it at all. And so I talked to him for 20 minutes. I set up a call between him and Paul Boyce. I really set Paul up nicely. I made sure the guy knew Paul Boyce is going to call you this afternoon. Paul called the guy, and Paul told me this is basically a sale. Paul's going to set the guy up for sure. And, so we got the web design. Now, this is the interesting thing. Once I was done with that, See, here's the great thing. This is whether you do touchscreen point of sale, web design, or payroll, they all can lead back into merchant services. Here's what I did. I said to this guy, I said, now let me ask you a question real quick before I go. Now, Paul's going to give you a call here this afternoon. Let me ask you a question. If we're able to get this website set up for you, and it's an e-commerce website, would you be interested at that point in having me do an estimate so we could do your credit card processing for everything in, with the one person instead of having your physical location with Mercury and then your website with us? He said, yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. He said, if you get my website set up, then let's go ahead with the merchant services. So I ended up making the merchant services sale and the web design sale because I went, merchant services, then I got a not interested. Then I mentioned our 3 most popular services other than merchant services. He latched onto one. Now, if it would have been a point of sale system, I would have said, now, I'm sure you understand, Bob, that with a point of sale, touchscreen point of sale, I'm sure you won't mind. We will need to do the merchant services. I promise we'll at least match your price now, if not take it down a little bit. But that kind of goes along with the point of sale. That way you have everything through one company. Yeah, that's fine. Same thing with payroll. Well, that's great. We got your payroll business. Now, if we're going to set you up on your payroll, are you sure you wouldn't want to at least get an estimate for your merchant services? Because I'll give you a better rate, like a bundled rate, if we do your payroll and your merchant services. So that's my new not interested pitch. I push him as hard as I can with merchant services when I'm about to walk out the door, before it gets ugly, before I've pushed them too far. I just give them the tri-full brochure and I talk about that a little bit. So, all right. Hope you have a great day today. Bye.